You really hate this head unit. This right here is a community poll that you can find on my YouTube channel. It's part of a game we play here called Good Deal or No Deal. It's easy to play. I post a product, you vote, and we find out if it's a good deal or not. This head unit is packed with features and really inexpensive for what you get, so I figured this is going to be the deal of the century. Down in the comments, you told me why it's not a good deal. There were concerns about the preamp voltage. I tested an older version of this same radio a couple of years ago. I didn't even get 2 volts out of the RCAs before they started clipping. Some of you are really reluctant to try an unknown brand, and there are oftentimes concerns about software issues. But hey, even a name brand head units have software issues. I just installed an Alpine radio in my truck, and that radio required a firmware update. In addition to the low price, this style of radio does have a big upside. If it has an Android operating system, it's basically a phone with a big screen. You can connect it to a cell phone network. You just got to pay your wireless carrier. The other thing that seems to bother people, it's made in China. It's this unknown Chinese brand. I don't want to get into global geopolitics or international trade, but keep in mind that these days, pretty much everything's made in China. Like right here, I've got an Alpine head unit that I just pulled out of my truck. It's been in there an entire decade. Right here, stamped plain as day, it says made in China. You can't avoid it. It's inevitable. Now, speaking of Alpine head units, and you voted on an Alpine double DIN head unit and you did not think that one was a good deal. I actually bought that head unit. I just installed it in the truck. I like the unit. I just can't figure out why you don't think it's a good deal. It might be that you just don't like the big price tag that comes with these touchscreen head units. So here's an alternative. This is a Pioneer single DIN. When I posted the poll, it was 20 bucks off and you said deal. It's got all the features that you really need for a basic head unit, but it is missing some important ones that you tend to want in-car audio. It only has 4 RCA outputs, so there's no dedicated sub output. Someone did comment that you can get the exact same model cheaper elsewhere, so that kind of makes it less of a deal. One thing I've learned about head units, you really need to look at the USB specifications. This one right here is limited to 1.5 amps of current, which was fine a decade ago when smartphones didn't pull as much power. If you've got a modern smartphone stuck to your dash and the screen's up so you can navigate while you're streaming music through Bluetooth, 1.5 amps is just not enough to do that and keep the phone charged up. Based on that poll, maybe you think that the cheaper single DINs are better. So I threw up another poll, and I was wrong about that. You seem to like the double DINs. Maybe the issue here is that you don't think they're good deals because they are more expensive. This leads me to kind of a philosophical question. What exactly is a deal? Well, here's what you think. Of the 4 choices that I made up for the poll, you think that bang for the buck is what defines a deal. But there was a common thread in your comments. Getting quality and performance at a good price makes something a deal. How about if we check out a battery? This is a LEV 60 battery from Jag35. This is 4 lithium iron phosphate cells in series. They call that a 4S configuration. Is it a deal? You say yes, it is a deal. This is something that you would buy. I agree. Now, there were some concerns in the comments over the voltage. One thing I want to point out to you, this is a 12 volt nominal battery, just like your 12 volt system in your car is 12 volts nominal voltage. The actual voltage will be some range. It'll be higher than that when your car is charging. The max charge on these cells is 3.5 volts. If you put 4 of those cells in series, then it's configured for up to 14 volts, which is slightly less than what you would get with Headway cells. Those things have a max charge of 3.65 volts. Which gets you up to 14.6 volts in a 4S configuration. This battery, like the Headway, has an advantage over an LTO battery. They're compatible with the stock charging system. For me personally, my truck's voltage is controlled by the ECU. I rarely see 14.4 unless it's like on a really cold day, and the truck just likes to hang out around 13.8. For me, the Headway bank or this LEV 60 bank works just fine. I think the Headway bank is better, and my original plan was to feature the Super Beast in this video, but the Super Beast is now permanently out of stock. Battery hookup still has used Headway cells at $650 each, and if you wanted to build something slightly more powerful than that LEV 60 cell, you could build an 80 amp hour bank of Headway cells with 40 of these cells for $260. But that's just the cost of the cells. You're going to spend at least $70 on bus bars, and at that point the pre-assembled LEV 60 starts to look like a good deal. Check the video description. I've got discount codes for battery hookup and Jag35, as well as a few other places around the internet like SavardSpeakerSystems.com. More on them in just a bit. Well, if you got a battery, you're going to need some wire. What about this wire kit from Down for Sound? The vote is split nearly down the middle, 55 to 45. That's really too close to call. You can't just eyeball that one. You've got to do some statistics. If this number here is more than 0.05, then you can conclude that more than half of you think that this is a good deal. And it's not, so we don't have enough of you saying it's a good deal to say beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is a good deal. Now, me personally, this is my go-to wire. It's flexible, it's not undersized, and they keep a wide range of colors in stock. I usually order 25 feet of 4/8 and 0 gauge about twice a year. Down for Sound typically runs sales around most holidays, so if you can wait for it to go on sale, you can probably catch a better deal. But if you can't wait and you're looking for a deal on some wire, maybe consider this kit from Recoil. It's 20 bucks less than the one at Down for Sound. Is it a deal? Well, let's find out. You say, yes, this is a deal. You might need a way to hook all that wire up. And a couple of years ago, I stumbled across this style of lug right here, and these are my new favorite. There are several brands on Amazon, and they all seem to be about the same. You can get them for different size wire or for different size bolt holes. You can even find versions that have been tinned that are great for places that are exposed to the elements. Just because I like it doesn't mean it's a good deal. And you say, yes, it is a good deal. And now for something completely different, let's check out a subwoofer box. Savard just started making these this year, and they look awesome. This one's for a pair of 8s. It has some details cut with a CNC machine, plus a plexiglass window, and some really top-notch speaker terminals. But is it a deal? You say, no, it's not. There was a little bit of debate down in the comments about what it would cost to build a box like this. There's a lot of labor and design time that go into these things. Plus, you got to have the CNC machine to cut it out, and those aren't exactly cheap. And I understand why you say this is not a deal. This is a premium enclosure. You're definitely paying extra for the extra touches like the window. Savard offers a standard version of the enclosure for about 80 bucks less. Next up are some JBL components. These are GTO 906Cs. Big shout out to Cornut for telling me about these. I wish I had time to sniff out all the good deals for you, but I don't. So if you know about a good deal, please tell me about it down in the comments and I'll make a poll. When I find good deals, I try to post them over on a Facebook group called Audio Visual Bargains and Deals. If you find a good deal, you can also post it over there in Facebook. I'll be sure to give you a link to that group down in the video description, along with links to all the deals in this video. So are these 6.5 components a good deal? You say, yes, they are. A few of you have actually used them and liked them, so that's really good to know. You may have noticed that the components are actually less than the coaxials, which brings up the question, why exactly are they so cheap? Is something wrong with them? The little bit of sleuthing I did, I found out that the GTO line used to be offered in Crutchfield and it's not there anymore, so my suspicion is this is a discontinued model that's been discounted to unload some extra stock. If anybody out there happens to know exactly why these things are so cheap, tell us about it down in the comments. If you're looking to buy JBL speakers, keep in mind that both JBL and Infinity are Harman brands and they do a good bit of brand engineering, so always look at both of them. Here's an Infinity component set that I mentioned in the last video. At the time of the poll, they were on sale, 56 bucks off. So if you happen to think they're a deal and miss the sale, my advice is to check to see if there's some JBL 6x9 components on sale. But are they a deal? No, they are not. Before I go, I want to thank all of my patrons and channel members. This channel is 100% viewer supported. $10 and up patrons get their name in the video. $25 and up patrons like Johnny Mexican, Timothy Paul, JD America, Bo, and Jonathan get a bonus shout out. I'm Justin, this is the DIY Audio Guy YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next adventure.